Hey guys, welcome back. Bushcraft Family with another video, and hopefully this video gets you started with the year. A lot of people have New Year's resolutions and stuff. I don't like doing those. I do challenges, and I don't have to have the new year to do a challenge. Last year I did a 30-day challenge for carnivore, and it changed how I think about what I eat and stuff. I've never thought I would have to look at labels before I buy stuff, but I'm in that zone now because there's so much fake stuff in our food today. But this is not the story. Let's get on with the video. The subject of the video today is the beginning of the year. Every year I like to do what I call the prepper challenge. And that's basically going through what I have and determining where I need to work on these things. It could be water. It could be security. It could be, your preps, your food. So I'm just going to break some stuff down, and hopefully it might encourage you to do a challenge yourself. Excuse me. The most everybody probably out there right now feels comfortable with their stockpile or their preps or your food and stuff. You can go months and months and months and years with your food, right? If you're not too confident, then you should start taking inventory of your food. Check your labels. Check your cans. Depending where it's stored at, see if there's rust. Now, I'm going to do a video on cans and stuff again, because a lot of people don't understand where the seal is on your can. Now, a lot of you have the pop tops, which I don't encourage anybody to get unless there's no other choice. But a regular can, the seal is not on the top. So if there's rust on the top, that means nothing. If you go to the side of the top of the can, it is pressed along the outside right there. So that's where you have to look for your rust and your seals being broke and stuff like that. You need to check your dates. You should already be rotating your preps. If you're not, then you may want to check your expiration dates and stuff. And you want to check, again, your temperature in the area where you're keeping your food and stuff. You want to make sure there's no pest trying to eat your food. I've lived up in New York, and the rats there will chew through a can of corn to get to it. So if you think it's in a can, it's safe. It's not. Check your dry foods. Make sure there's no droppings or anything inside those. If you have cooking oils of some sort, and it doesn't have to be a cooking oil, any kind of oils, check the smell, see if it's rancid or anything like that, bad odors or something to give you a warning, or that, something's not quite right. Now, this is kind of silly, but have you been eating on your preps? Which technically you should be. You know, that's why you should be rotating and eating some of the older stuff. And check out some of the stuff that you have been eating on. And do you not like this thing, or you really like this thing? Take note of that. So if you don't like a certain thing, say you don't like rice, well, you need to stop stockpiling rice for you to eat. I'm not saying you don't want to stockpile rice, because you can also barter for that. You can barter the things. But for eating purposes, you want to keep that separate from what you're going to eat. So you don't want to keep prepping that to eat when you don't like it. The next thing is fuels. I just picked up some of these, and they're not selling these things anymore at Walmart. These are the short ones. These make really good. I picked me up another one of these because my last one broke on me. It is a miniature little. It's basically just a gas nozzle, and it has flip out things to where you can put a pot on top of it. Actually has a little thing to where you can light it and everything. But it fits in a nice little container. I'm going to do a video on this later. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. It's just very cheap product. And I bought these at Walmart. As you can see, $5. $5 would have been a lot a couple years ago for one of these, but they're like $8 to $12. So when I'm talking about fuel, I'm not talking about gasoline in your car. I'm talking about kerosene, diesel, propane, butane, these things. You need these things for your stoves, your heaters, whatever the case may be. Generator, stabilizers. Make sure you have up-to-date stabilizers in your fuel. If not, rotate it. Fill your tank up with, if it's gasoline, fill your tank up with it. Get new gas. Put stabilizers in it. Next one is firearms, ammunition. Check your ammunition. Make sure there's not decay and stuff on the cartridges or the shells and things. Open up your boxes and check out some of the rounds. Make sure there's not it's something that goes around the edge of the brass or steel, depending the ammunition you use. But you want to make sure that there's nothing coming out of there, because sometimes you get a bad batch of ammunition, and you don't want to be going click 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 when you need to go boom boom boom. You get where I'm going? Yeah. So check for corrosions, oxidization, that's what it is. All those things, you need to pay attention to those types of things, because you want to make sure all this stuff is up to snuff. Check your firearms, make sure they're clean, no signs of rust. Open them up, make sure there's no rust on the inside, so to speak. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you don't have firearms for protection, your other means of protection, whatever it could be, a baseball bat to a machete in the yard, I don't know. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. Make sure that upkeep is done with those. one thing I like to do, I've always liked challenges, you know, and like shutting the power off for 24 hours. No cell phones, no nothing. Just see how it is, you know. See the sounds you hear that you usually don't hear because your house is so loud with noises and things. See how it is to, and you can do this in the wintertime so that you know, you get the feel of being cold and whatnot, or do it in the summer. You know, you don't have to have it in a certain time. Like I said, New Year's resolution, I don't like it, but a new year means a new beginning, so new challenges. Another thing I like to do is eat like the Great Depression. Eat out of your cans, so to speak. Eat like get some of your old stuff that it's getting ready to expire and stuff like that. And have you know, sit around, open cans and heat them up on a little stove like this or something, and just have a fancy day of eating different things out of your preps and stuff. Make a new recipe with some of the things. Have, you know, a lot of dried fruits and stuff that you have that's been sitting on your pantry shelf for a while. Be creative, and only eat that way for, you know, 24 hours, or do, you know, something like a whole week or something like that, where you'll learn a lot of stuff in that process. It's these are things that these challenges are made for. You don't want to challenge yourself after something really bad happens, like a hurricane or a tornado or a fire or something else. You don't want to find out, oh man, I really wish I would have thought of this, or, you know, do these challenges ahead of time. You remember back in the day when they told families to do fire drills and, you know, recreate a fire and then tell everybody where they had to meet and how to get out of the house and all this stuff. Who grabs this and who grabs that? Well, why don't we do those anymore? You know, even as adults, you know, just put your finger on the smoke detector and let it off and see how long it takes everybody in the house to get up and figure out what's going on, you know. Yeah. These are challenges that we need to keep up with, and you don't have to do it at the beginning of the year, but it is a good time to think about these things. Another thing is, take a hard look at your home security. You know better than anybody where your holes are in your security. Now is a good time to challenge yourself to, you know, get that up to snuff. Go around, have your friend or, you know, your spouse or somebody try to sneak into your house, or try to get past your cameras, or, you know, other things to try to find your holes in your security. It doesn't always have to be, you know, click, click, bang, bang thing as your security. You want to have things in place ahead of time before it gets to that situation. Go around looking at your bushes around your windows, or visibility around corners and things like that, and have a plan in place in case somebody breaks in through your basement, somebody breaks in through your front door. Have a plan set in place where your loved ones are and things, so that there's no accidents that can happen, so to speak. Also, those who do gardens and stuff, this is usually the time that everybody goes and starts shopping for seeds and things. Go through your seed banks, so to speak. If you have a good supply of seeds, go through there and see what seeds you're missing, or what seeds are you low on, and things like that. Also, fertilizer is a good time. It's a good time to buy this stuff in off season, because a lot of times, like you go to Walmart, the outside section, they'll have clearance stuff on all the garden stuff for all the way up until springtime. And you can get a lot of stuff cheap there. It's like that in pretty much all stores. Make sure you're all up to date and all this kind of stuff. And that way, when garden season comes, you're not waiting for stuff to come in the mail because you forgot this and that. And shameless plug, if you go down below, one of my sponsors to my channel, you get, I think it's 10% off, and they have deals where you get more than that sometimes. So you always want to check that website, Survival Garden Seeds. Great seeds. In fact, they sent me some of these. Green Spring, you won't see much of it, but native flowers. They send gifts out all the time. So anyways, also think about first aid. How is your first aid? Is you missing anything from bandages, gauze, all this kind of stuff? Make sure that you have looked at your first aid kit and make sure there's nothing missing. Make sure that you have everything in there that you need. Sometimes there's something missing. I've been setting up these things, tourniquets. Get an extra tourniquet so you can practice, because I did a video not too long ago, and nobody knew that technically, once you use a tourniquet, they tell you not to use it again, because whatever the reason, it could be less chance it could fail and stuff like that. But we're not going to get into that. You can go back and watch it. But always have an extra one to practice on. Make sure your family members know how to use it and things like that. Again, with the challenges, go 3 days without electricity. And that means your cell phone, all that stuff. Let the batteries die, or just turn them off. That way there's no, you can't say, well, if there's an emergency, I can't charge the phone. So it's good just to turn it off, if you can trust yourself. That's a good challenge, a very good challenge. And hardly anybody ever does it anymore, because, everybody's boom, 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 fast pace going this and that. And they got to have that phone checking their social media, this and that. Challenge yourself. Do these little things. Make challenges. You also the bug out challenge. You know, there's a lot of times you can treat it as a camping trip or whatever, and perfect time to do a bug out challenge is in the winter to see how well your sleeping things are, your sleeping bags or your sleeping situation. You find out real quick how good your bug out bag is. Trust me. But other than that, I'm gonna let you guys go. The main thing is challenge yourself this year. Challenge everything within your life to make sure if something happens, you survive. Until next time, like always, God bless.